Having trouble adding your email signature in Outlook? I'm Elizabeth, and in this quick tutorial, I'll walk you step by step through how to set up a signature in both the Outlook desktop app and the web version. Let's take a look. On the new Outlook desktop version, you'll start by clicking on the gear icon in the upper right-hand corner. Alternatively, you can select File and then go to Settings. You'll then be taken to your accounts, and from here, select Signatures, and then click Add Signature. Since you can have multiple signatures within your Outlook account, they're going to ask you to name them. Since this signature I'm about to create is going to be my primary signature, that's exactly what I'm going to name it. I'm going to make this signature super simple. I've put in my name, my company, my position at the company, a website address, and a phone number. Now I can leave it as simple as this, click Save, and there you have it. I have my signature. But let's walk through how to make this more visually appealing. You'll see all of the different editing tools available to you on the top toolbar. You'll notice that this looks very similar to a Microsoft Word document. The first thing I'm going to do for this signature is bold it and adjust the color to match my website. You can continue to change the font type, italicize, underline, etc. in order to get your signature to look and feel the way you want. You'll notice here that there is a hyperlink already inserted because I typed out the complete website address when I first created my signature. Because I'm typing out my signature as a text block, I can actually insert as many hyperlinks as I want. Let's say I want to go ahead and add schedule a meeting to my signature. I can then select this text, highlight it, click on the insert button, link, and then insert hyperlink. I can then add my URL, and there I have it, a second hyperlink included in my signature. Once I have my signature looking the way I want, I can then choose to set this as the default for all new messages. You also will get the option to set this as a default for replies and email forwards. Some people choose to have their signature on every email they send out. Others choose to simply have their signature on the initial emails that they send. I'm going to select it as my default for everything and click on Save. Outlook is now confirming that I have a signature created, and the default for new messages, as well as for replies and forwards, is going to be the primary signature that I created. If you want to delete the signature at any time, you can click on the trash button. You can also go back and edit it by clicking on the pen icon and edit signature. Now, some of you may have used the previous version of Outlook in order to create your signature. And there were a lot more options in order to make it more visually appealing. However, in the new Outlook, we're a bit more limited. You are able to still insert a picture. So if I want to include my headshot, I can add that here. It's way too big, so I'm going to go ahead and make that smaller. And then you can drag and drop it around where you want it in your signature. You can see here that gets a little clunky, but there we go. However, the new Outlook doesn't have the same formatting capabilities that the old one has. Now, by the time you watch this video, they may have made those updates, but as of the time of filming, they haven't. So I could always add my picture there on top and have my text on the bottom, or I could move this down here to the very bottom and have my picture underneath. I could also add additional images as well. A good rule of thumb is to not make your images too big because it just adds to the weight of your email. However, I think this looks a little peculiar. So now we're going to shift gears and I'm going to show you how to create a more visually appealing signature using Microsoft CoPilot. And then I'll show you how to insert that into this signature box. So here I am in Microsoft CoPilot. The link to access this is below in the video description, and I'm going to let CoPilot know exactly what I want to create. Here I've asked them to create an email signature using the image that I am about to attach, as well as the information that I previously entered into my Outlook signature. And then I'll just go ahead and press Create. And although I'm doing this in Microsoft CoPilot, you can also create a signature in a third-party tool like Canva. And I have another video that shows how to do that. And you can access that using the link up above in the right-hand corner. So now that I have this image, I can use the chat box to describe any changes that I may want made to my signature. I can also manually edit it. First, I'm going to select crop and rotate in order to make this smaller. And although those are the only changes I'm going to make here, you have a lot of different options to transform your signature to make it look a little bit fancier. You can also generate additional images, add colors, shapes, etc. But if you have your photo in here and all the information you're looking for, the next step is to go ahead and download your new signature. So now I'm back here in Outlook and I will select Insert Pictures. And I will upload the signature that I just downloaded. Once you have that image in here, I can adjust it to make it smaller. And it looks exactly the way I want it to. Now, one thing when you upload an image to the new Outlook, you're not going to be able to click on a specific hyperlink. What you'll need to do instead is actually link the entire image. So I've gone ahead and entered the website address and I'll click on OK. And now when someone clicks on this, it will take them directly to my URL. You cannot have multiple hyperlinks when you are adding an image as your signature. And once I saved this as my signature, every time I open up a new email, it's automatically going to include this image. I should note that the image I created using CoPilot is relatively simple, but you can have a lot of fun with the different effects depending on how creative you want to be, and CoPilot has a lot of different options for you to explore. Now let's shift gears and talk about how to create a signature using Outlook on the web. Similar to the desktop, I will click on File and then Access Settings here on the gear icon. And then you'll click on the Account button, followed by Signatures. And now you're just going to go through the exact same process that I showed you before. You'll notice since we've already created a primary signature on the desktop version, that will carry over to Outlook on the web. You can add multiple signatures within Outlook. I'm now back in the desktop version of the new Outlook. I have already my primary signature, which is for work purposes. But let's say I want to add a signature for personal reasons. I can then name that my personal signature, enter the information that I want. Now I have my more informal personal signature. I can save this, or I could always choose to set this as my default for replies and forwards to add a slightly more friendly and less stuffy approach to my emails. I'll then be able to see both of my email signatures here under Settings. If you've created multiple signatures, I would encourage you to set the one that you're going to be using the most often as your default signature. However, if you're going to be using your signature sparingly, you don't have to set any of them as your default. Instead, when you're in a new email message, click on Insert and then Signature, and then select the signature that you want to use for that particular email, and it's simple as that. Easy! Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, as well as our weekly newsletter, so that you get helpful tips and tricks delivered to your inbox each week. Thanks for watching.